All rise. Benton County Commissioners County Session, roll down board chair.
Mike Nunnery of the 5th District, would you give us the invocation, please?
Sure. Dear Heavenly Father, thanks for bringing us here together safely. Please put your hand on us as we make these decisions tonight. Make sure we continue to operate in a calm and cool manner. Please bless everyone with their travels on the way home. All these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Hopper from the 6th District, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Andy Hearn, Don Patton,
Yes.
Ward Plant,
Here.
Ward Plant,
Here.
Dana Ferguson, Kenneth Miller,
Here.
Rocky Crescent,
Shop local.
Leah Dye, Norman Frazier,
Here.
Gary Carr,
Here.
Wayne Fowler,
Here.
Sonny Hall,
Here.
Bill Melton,
Here.
Michelle Hill, Mike Nunnery,
Here.
Roseanne Ward,
Present.
Darrell Hicks, Ronnie Hopper,
Here.
Mary Powers,
You press your button on your tablet.
Approval of the agenda. Have a motion by Don Patton and a second by Mike Nunnery. Any questions or discussions?
Don Patton, yes. Ward Plant,
Yes.
yes. Dana Ferguson, yes. Kenneth Miller, yes. Rocky Crescent, yes. Leah Dye, yes. Yes. Norman Frazier, yes. Gary Carr, yes. Wayne Fowler, yes. Sonny Hall, yes. Bill Melton, yes. Michelle Hill, yes. Mike Nunnery, yes. Roseanne Ward, yes. Ronnie Hopper, yes. Anyone wish to change their vote?
Chairman,
Yes.
the screen shows Mary Powers' absence, and I'm pretty sure she's sitting behind the sheriff.
She is. Do you want to address that now?
Ms. Powers has recently sold her property in the 6th District. She has announced her resignation official today. There is some question, or effective at the end of May, there is some question as to whether her residence is active or not, so she is kind of a non-participating member tonight. She will sit with the body, but I believe she will not be casting a vote tonight, not to cause any contradiction in the vote or conflict.
Thank you.
We don't have to call them. We don't have to call them. We don't have to call the votes, it's just announce the votes.
I guess she needs to be shown as an abstain, which would take her vote out. Who, Mary Powers?
We'll have a 17, with the resignation of Ms. Powers, we'll have a 17-member board tonight, so that's going to change our majority down to 9 instead of 10, when we vote as a majority. But he says that you do not, since we're not on the electronic meetings anymore, yeah. No. Okay. make it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
So since we're not on the electronic meetings anymore, she's not gonna have to call the roll out every time. Okay, so that'll help things go a little bit faster. Next is the citizens forum. Terry Leonard.
Good evening. Each of you folks should have a highlighted copy of a resolution that was passed February the 17th, 2004. I represent the Sharing and Caring community. Back February the 17th, 2004, the sitting county commission at that time voted unanimously to agree with or to provide a 99-year lease to the Caring and Sharing community. It was passed on a roll call vote with 18 ayes. The motion passed. These folks, and several of them's in the community or the gallery tonight, these folks took the property at 135 Rousey Street. They exhausted the grunt work, if you will, the manual labor to clean that lot up. They built a committee or a community center at no cost to the taxpayers through their efforts in obtaining the material and the labor. They put up basketball goals and they're enjoying that 135. Quite simply, why I'm here tonight is to voice what those folks want, and what they want is be left alone. They haven't asked for government assistance. It's cost the county no monies to make these improvements. Mr. Donnie Hudson mows the grass weekly and cleans up, as well as other folks out there. And they want to enjoy the park, the area that they've cleaned up at no cost, less government to the people. I have advised them, and I've not seen the 99-year lease, but I've advised them that I will prepare a lease. I'll request the county appropriately to execute that lease. It'll be retro back to February the 17th, 2004. And then quite simply, Benton County and this commission and whomever else can leave these folks alone. And that's what we're asking to do. It's clearly set forth in each of the minutes that memorializes that the motion was passed February the 17th, 2004. And more likely than not, the county attorney at that time just failed to draft a lease, which, like I say, I'll do so and get it to the appropriate party for execution. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Is there a reason they feel that the county's going to mess with this property?
It was communicated to me that apparently the county was trying to get some type of grant or something of that nature, and some county officials had been out there, which they never had in the past, through the grunt work, the cleanup, the building of the pavilion, the obtaining of the material to build it, or the basketball goals, the maintenance on a weekly basis. But someone representing the county shows up, and my understanding wanted to void the lease or to deed the property, the lease back, so the county could then control the property at 135 Rousey Street. But quite simply, these folks that's out here and the folks that met with me at the office, they don't want government involvement. They want less government. They want to be left alone.
Okay, my understanding, and I could be wrong, it was just that the county received some grant monies that we wanted to make available to the community if there was something that wanted to be added, not that we wanted to walk in and change anything. Because, you know, this money should help every area of the county, but that should be only what the residents of the area would be comfortable accepting.
Once we memorialize the lease, have it properly executed, filed of record, then obviously through the passage of years, if there's a potential proposal that may improve the playground and the property out there, then the appropriate people will listen. Otherwise, they just want to be left alone.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to say something.
Yes, sir.
First of all, when you say they want to be left alone, first of all, there's not been any government harassment so far. If you look at the property record, it clearly shows Benton County as the owner. Okay, so one could easily make an assumption that Benton County is the owner and the liable party for that property until a paper can be produced. I'm glad that you produced the paper, because obviously no one on this commission for years and years has had any knowledge that this was not a county property and that we did not have liability for it. Now, 131 Rousey Street is the adjoining property, of which there was an abandoned trailer, which we had an immense amount of liability for, that we have recently had demoed and removed from the property.
We don't care about 131,
Exactly.
and I never said that
Let me
you
finish.
or anyone else harassed these
Let me
folks.
finish.
All
First of all,
right,
no
go
one
ahead.
has- No one has harassed. We were looking, I would actually be willing to work to give them 131 Rousey Street in that lease, just as much, so that they have both of those properties, and basically the integrity of that entire footprint would better serve them and their community. I'd be more than happy, based upon the commission's approval, to actually allow them to have the 131 lot, just because the main thing is, we don't want the liability, and that's why we have been proactive in finding out who's the owner, what's the disposition of this, taking off a dilapidated trailer that posed liability to the county. But now, by giving them 131 Rousey, combined with 135 Rousey, to me, that just increases their footprint. That just increases their enjoyment, their ability to do something with that property. And we would assist them in getting a grant to turn that into a larger scale community park if they want to. But that's where we've been. No one has harassed anybody, and the onus of knowing that this document even existed, I can ask everyone here, do y'all know anything about it? A lot of y'all been on the commission a lot longer than I have.
Nobody in here was on that commission at that time.
Correct. So we were moving our actions based upon that assumption, that when you pull up the paper, it shows Benton County as the property owner, and we were being proactive in removing the citizens from any liability from that. So, but this is music to my ears. I'm glad that it is the way it is, because that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted the community to have possession of that, to be able to use that piece of property, and we're even going to better it. We're even going to throw in the extra part if you want to revise that agreement to bring in 131 Rousey Street.
First, I'll have to obviously speak with the folks to see if they want to take on that additional obligation of cleaning that lot up, underbrush, things of that nature. They may or they may not. Now, obviously, if they do want that, then there'll have to be an appropriate motion, just like there was back February the 17th, 2004, and then we'll take a vote. I'll be glad, as I told these folks, and I'll just tell you, I'm not charging the people a dime to be up here tonight, but I'll be glad to include 131 in the lease if they're agreeable, and we'll discuss it and get back with the county court.
I think it helps their footprint, gives them a lot more territory, because right now, there's a lot of tires stacked back there that could, the city may want to clean up or something like that. We more than I'd much rather leave it in their hands than.
They've done an excellent job since 2004 without any government involved.
Terry, we're glad to help them, we help them, that's the main thing. We looked at it, it being snake or whatever, and I heard.
Oh,
that's
out at 135, there's not any snake.
130,
One.
one right there had all that, and we just looking to have to give that to them to make them a real nice park for their own benefit, if they want it.
They've got a real nice park, but I will communicate that with them and see if they want to take on
We'll
that
have-
additional obligation. They don't need necessarily any help.
Yeah.
All they want to be is left alone.
Mr.
And
Leonard,
I'll
I hate to
communicate.
interrupt you, but your
Yeah.
time's out.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Terry. Yes, sir.
Next is Michelle Pierpont Smith and Stephanie Harselow.
Hello. I think most of you know me. I've been before you a few times. But first of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity to allow us to come introduce ourselves and to introduce the new business that we do have in Benton County. I have a couple of the fellows back there. We've got Jonathan is the head geologist, Mr. Scott Sparks, and this here is Tasso Ariba, the manager director, and I'm going to let him kind of speak a little bit.
Okay, thanks. All right. Hi, everyone. I appreciate being up here. First time speaking in front of the commission here.
England or Australia?
I grew up in Australia, but I'm Greek by background. But I live here in the States now. Thank you. Look, I'm really proud about what my team's done already here and what we've been able to achieve here. We want to be a big positive part of the community going forward. We think that there's a lot of potential here for what we're doing in the business that we're trying to put together here, which is important for American national security in addition to bringing jobs and wealth to the community. We've just opened up our office. As you can see, it's on Main Street, just off the highway there. Stephanie has put a lot of effort into that, and I commend her for that. We want to make sure that we have an open door policy, so if anybody has any questions about what we're doing out here in the community, please come in and talk to us. I'm in here fairly often. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. Senior project geologist Jonathan Lord is in a lot, 3 weeks on, 1 week off, and then Stephanie and Michelle are here all the time. Again, I just want to say and really just reinforce that we want to be a positive part of the community. It's very important for us to make sure that we take into account any and all questions that the community has about where we want to be with this development. This is going to be a very substantial development for America and a very substantial development, hopefully, for this community and the communities surrounding Benton County. So we're really excited about what we're doing, and please, over time, we want to be having more interactions with every one of you, and hopefully have a successful and long-term, be a successful and long-term part of this community in the future. So that's about it from me. Is there anything
Does
else?
anyone have any questions?
What are you actually doing now?
So we have both option to acquire acquired and also lease some ground out in Benton, Henry, and Carroll County, and we're drilling out for titanium, rare earth, and zircon mineral sands. Yeah. In addition to that, we are also working closely with the University of Utah and a professor of powder metallurgy out of there to develop a integrated metal production, so titanium metal production, which is hugely important for our military as well. So right now, most of the minerals that we consume today are imported, especially titanium minerals for the production of paints and pigments, and also titanium metal for national security purposes, both defense and aerospace. We want to reshore the capacity for those minerals here in America. My group, and I was the founder of another company which did a similar investment in North Carolina. That's why I'm based in Charlotte, North Carolina, in Gaston County, where we're now one of the largest developments of going into construction for the development of a lithium mine.
How long will you be in this area, brother?
So if we're successful in bringing forward a project here, then I think this is going to stay here for generations. What we see in the geology here is something that is a massive untapped potential resource. But there's a lot of work to still do, but we see
Would you
a lot
care
of
giving
potential.
us an update about every 3 months, how you're doing?
Yeah, probably
Every
sooner,
day?
probably even sooner than that,
Try to keep us
yeah.
in the-
Yeah, probably even
We're-
sooner than that.
We're excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, we'll be on social media. We're happy for anybody to drop in whenever they want. This is a fast-moving company, but at the same time, there's a few things we have to do before we can become operational. So there's a lot of technical and environmental studies we need to do before we can even really break ground on a major operation. But you know, but a lot of what we do is up to the community, and that's why we want to make sure that we have everyone's support here. Yes, go ahead.
Question. Is this process of extracting these minerals a fracking process or open mining process?
So it's a little bit different than, it's not fracking at all, and then it's a little bit different than an open pit mine. So unlike what we have in North Carolina where we have an open pit mine, here it is, you open up an area, you take out the sand, you remove the heavy minerals from the sand, which constitutes about 3% of the weight of that sand, and then you put that sand back and you reclaim behind yourself. And you do that actively as you mine through the deposit.
How deep down are the deposits you're looking for?
So in some areas they come right close to surface, and in some you have 40, 50 feet of overburden. So what you would do is you will take that out, you will mine, and then you'll take out the sand which has the heavy minerals. You'll remove that 3% weight, and then put everything back in, and then rehabilitate and
So
reclaim the
this is
soil.
closer to the surface than, say, coal or some other...
Oh yes,
minerals
much.
combined.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
heavily involved in the coal industry. It's much different than that. Yeah, much
I
different.
have another question.
Yes.
Is this process of returning the material back to the ground after you extract what you get out of it, is this an immediate deal, or is this a 6 months to 10 years before you put it back?
No, it is not immediate. It's like months. So you might open up. We're still doing the studies, the technical studies, and depends on size. But it may be that you have an open area for say a month, and then you move to the next area and you're filling behind yourself. So you actively reclaim behind yourself. So it won't be even a year, but it'll be months. But there's a lot more work. In September, we'll have what's called our first mine plan with our reclamation plan as well, and then you'll be able to see graphically what it looks like.
Is this separation of this material done on the site of where it's extracted from?
It's a good question. There's two separate. One is just a heavy media separation, which is just using spirals, gravity and spirals, to separate out the heavy fraction from the light fraction. That will be done on the site, and then there will be a centralised facility which then uses electromagnetics and electrostatics to separate the minerals themselves. But there's a lot more data to come. Again, there's going to be a lot more updates over the next few months and 6 months, 12 months as we go through development, technical studies, environmental studies, which we can share with the community, and we're happy to answer more questions.
And what type of metals are extracted from this, or?
Titanium, zircon, rare earth minerals, which is a monazite, and some other ceramic minerals as well are in there. But the main minerals are titanium, zircon, and the rare earth containing minerals. Okay. Any more? Sheriff?
I guess that's it. We do welcome you here, and we're excited, and we hope that we work well with you, and that you work well with us, and that you do a lot of good here for
Great.
us.
I appreciate
I've already heard that you've been a little bit involved in the youth here in the community.
It's a little bit of a passion, but that's fine. Yeah,
Yeah,
I like it.
okay. But that's a good thing.
I think that's
a
an
positive
important
thing.
part. The children to have something to look forward to over the longer term. I grew up in an area where Western Australia is very mining focused, and it's in your blood. And the mining industry did a lot to educate young people about what it meant for their futures and all that, and it does a lot. And it can do a lot for the younger generation out here as well. So
Well, we thank
really,
you.
that's
Thank
a
you.
added benefit.
I had one other question.
Yes.
How many employees will this operation
So
basically?
depends on size. Initially, you're probably looking at 100 to 150 people. But if we can grow and find more deposits like what we're seeing, it could grow from that as well over time. Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lisa Wigington with TEC. This is my presentation.
Well, first of all, I'm James Garner, and Lisa's going to follow me. But I'm James Garner with TEC, Vice President of Operations. And I wanted to take a minute just to tell you who we are and why we're here tonight. We are a fiber broadband technology company. We serve various communities in Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. And we've been very active in Benton County over the last 2 years, utilizing grant programs and trying to reach underserved communities with fiber to the home. So TEC started in 1923. It's a family-owned business to this day, and I am proud to say that my wife is the current leadership of TEC. She's third generation, and I'm even more proud to say that my daughter has recently started and being the fourth generation. So when we go into a community, we are committing to that, and this is something that is our life, and just wanted to really put that personal touch out there to say that we're not fly by night. We've been around, we plan to be around, and we look forward to working with the folks in this community. So with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Wigington and let her tell you more about this roughly $6 million and 1,000 homes that we've passed to date, and some of the plans we'd like to share with you about reaching more and continuing this endeavor. Those grants were made possible because of, number one, Lisa's hard work, but number two, we had the support of the community. Mayor Lashley wrote, and others wrote letters of support, encouraged us, and I would also like to thank Benton County Electric System. They have great poles, great right-of-way, and we are using some of their fiber on a leased basis to help get some of those middle miles so we can go out to the endpoints, serve customers without having to build in between. So you have two very beneficial assets in those folks. So without further ado, Lisa.
And I'm going to really try hard to do this in 2 minutes, but it might take a few. I'm going to skip some of the fluff and just go straight to the numbers. So beginning in 2019, TEC began pursuing funding to build the underserved areas in Benton County. TEC was awarded 2 of 3 state grants that we wrote. And then we also wrote a federal grant, but we did not get awarded it. So we've written 4 grants for Benton County. So of these 2 state grants, one was in 2020 and one was in 2021. Construction began in 2020 this year, and we've built almost 27 miles very quickly, serving the communities of Holiday and Sugar Tree. This project was completed in December of 2020 and provides service to over 300 locations in Benton County. And you'll see there's a little picture, and it's shaded, of where we built. Then in 2021, we were lucky enough to get awarded again, and we've already begun staking this project, which means basically engineering it. The construction is scheduled to begin third quarter of this year, and we'll build 87 miles of fiber and be able to serve another 580 locations in Benton County. And on top of that, the places that we could not get funding for, we built on our own. We built out Eva area. We've built to Big Sandy, the town, and then we're even going north to some residential areas of Big Sandy. That's an additional 35 miles that we built, and that hits about 1,200 locations.
Can you hit 641, please, just right past McKelvey Road?
Actually, if you'll give me your address before you leave, I think I'll make sure that we're trying to hit that area. So the total investment in Benton County is $8.25 million. So I'm going to say it again, over $8 million we brought to Benton County. Now, grant funding has been 3.1 of that, but we've invested over $5 million of our own money. We want to bring fiber to the home, gigabit service to every resident of Benton County. But we can't do it by ourselves. And we know that there's been some money allocated to the county. So what we've come to ask today is some of the money that has been allocated through the pandemic, we'd like for it to be, some of it be earmarked for broadband. We could take that money, also apply for some state funding and match it, and then we could actually build, we would like to build, and I put that in here, $3.9 million more. That's about almost 70 miles of additional fiber. Now, we can also look at other areas, but these are areas that I had pinpointed that would be we could easily build out additional, and that's in your packet. One other thing I wanted to mention is that TEC, along with all of these grants, and it's not required, we built hotspots. So we have public access hotspots, and we put it in every volunteer fire department that we've passed so far. So in the Holiday McElwain Volunteer Fire Department, there's free public access. In the South 40 Volunteer Fire Department, there's free public access. Anybody can drive up in their car and do their homework or use the internet if they don't have internet access at their home. And then on this next build that we're about to start, we'll be giving free internet to the Chalk Level Volunteer Fire Department with an outdoor Wi-Fi hotspot for public access. So I'm going to go back to what my request is today. I would just like for you to take a look at the money that was given in the pandemic, and I believe that Benton County has received $3.1 million. If you could earmark some of that for broadband expansion, I have identified another 67 miles, and with the picture, if you don't like these areas, I would love to propose a different project. But we would like to continue to expand. Does anybody have any questions?
What part of the area are you at right now? You at Sandy?
So yes, sir, we've built down to Holiday and Sugar Tree area. We built that. We built down Eva Road, actually with the help of the electric. We built out the Eva area. We went up to Big Sandy downtown. We built it, and we're going north of that to get some residential in that area. We just won a grant that covers a lot more. You want to see?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And so I do have images of everything that we have built and what I would like to continue to build. So the grant's going to cover a big portion of Holiday and a big portion south of Big Sandy.
I know we still like getting in the Rockport Road in McElwain, tying it in through Birdsong.
That is going to be included in the grant.
So that's coming
Yes, sir.
soon, or-
That is coming the end of this year, first of next year, if I can get it going. But it is funded, so we are going to do that. Anybody else? Yes, sir?
Big Sandy, Point Mason Road, coming out that way. That's where you guys got that lot running.
You'd be surprised at, so, you know, we have 6 different properties in Tennessee and Alabama, and you'd be surprised, I do memorize a lot of these maps, but I don't know offhand. So if you would, anybody that wants me to check their address, please write it down, and I will absolutely email you tomorrow whether or not we're gonna get there. I have a few more in the car, and I'm so sorry. Yes, ma'am, I will check it. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Go
you.
back, here's your book back if you need it.
Yeah, you can keep that one.
Right, next is Director of Schools, Mark Florence.
I'll try to be quick. First of all, I wanted to come and talk to you about our elementary and secondary emergency school relief, and I brought the brain trust of our office, and I want them to stand up because the last 6 to 7 months on top of their job, all they've been doing is trying to allocate $9 million in a month's time, which is very difficult. But Miss Amy Davis, our supervisor of instruction, come on Amy, and Sharon LaTondres, our special ed supervisor and federal programs supervisor that's retiring on us, and then Miss Brandy Milner, our supervisor of instruction, 712. They have worked tirelessly to make sure these funds are spent, to make sure our students are benefited. So thank you to all their work. The reason I come tonight is we're into ESSER 3. ESSER 1 was about $600,000, and it was mostly spent on technology, after-school tutoring. We did purchase a school bus that we put Wi-Fi on so we could have a remote classroom. We try to spend these funds. School bus is good for 15 to 20 years as long as it has under 20,000 miles, so we tried to be diligent with those funds. So that was the first one. And then ESSER 2 come out about November, and it was $2.6 million. And they allowed us to use some infrastructure, so we've already, we're going to pay for half of the roof project. We had some HVAC work done for about $80,000. We'll be reimbursed for that. And then technology, software to enhance learning. Additional teachers, PD, several things in that ESSER 2. And then in March comes ESSER 3. And so at the beginning, ESSER 3 was going to be just like the first two, and then the feds said slow down. And so instead of allocating that in a month, they stopped us. And then last week, they come out with the 27-page plan for ESSER 3. And part of that plan is that we come and share with stakeholders in the county about these funds. So that's the reason I'm here tonight. I wanted to kind of tell you what we're thinking. We have to have this in by the end of June, but I would appreciate any input that you would have. Just remember that these are emergency relief funds. They are not extra. It doesn't change anything. This is just strictly additional funds for the school system to hopefully upgrade our facilities, upgrade technology. So right now, these are some of the ideas we have for this ESSER 3, but we would welcome any input that you have as commissioners or anybody from the community. Number one, we're going to hire a learning loss coordinator, and then the state from day one has advised us to hire a physical agent to monitor just this grant. We were fortunate there. Miss Linda Melton's retiring, so we're going to hire her part-time to manage this grant. So that worked out quite well. And then we're looking at $2.5 to $3 million of these dollars for capital outlay projects. The one thing we know we're going to do, as long as the state approves it, is we're hoping we can pay for the other half of the roof project for CHS and Big Sandy. We're going to take the chiller out of Briarwood School, which has been a thorn for many years, but now we have the money to do that. That way all the children and the teachers are not breathing the same air. We have different units in each room. And then we're also looking, and the board, this have to come through the community, but we're hoping we can extend our central office to build a boardroom and a couple extra offices so we actually have enough room to have a board meeting, because since COVID, we've had to move all our meetings to the high school. And then, if there's other capital projects that we can use the funds for, we'll look at that. We're going to try to add 3 to 4 classroom reduction teachers, and now this all has to be spent by 2024. So we're looking at maybe hiring 2 to 4 additional teachers, grades K-5, so we can reduce that class size and hopefully catch these children up. We're spending close to probably $500,000 on high quality math material. Now this first year it will be a lot less than that, but we're lucky in that there's a math adoption coming up in 2023-24. If you'll remember last year we spent $500,000 on our ELA new curriculum. So this would be something that we could spend these funds on. We're going to give our staff a bonus. And then we're going to save at least $500,000 of these funds, so when it expires in 2024, all this technology we've bought, all these Chromebooks, we're going to have funds to start. The sustainability of this money is what we have to be careful with. We can't start a lot of new programs. We just have to upgrade and then budget in the future so we can sustain it. So what we thought as a team, if we left a pretty good size that last year, that we could start updating our Chromebook. So that was pretty quick. 5 minutes, doesn't take me long, take 5 minutes. Any questions? I have the supervisor's here. I'll be glad to, I can probably answer anything. But what if you have any suggestions. Yes, Mr. Hopper?
Are we gonna, when you hire these teachers and this money runs out, are you gonna get rid of the teachers?
When we hire the teachers, we are telling them, but in 3 years, attrition will more than likely take care of that. As people retire, we won't hire, and we'll just let that phase out. We've been pretty good at that I think we're 12 less teachers than we had 2 years ago. But to answer your question, hopefully numbers will go up and we'll have enough teachers, but obviously if 2024 rolls around, then that would be something that we would have to address budget-wise. Any additional questions?
Chairman, question for the chairman.
Okay.
Chairman, I think this subject's too important to put a time limit on it. I'll ask you to reconsider. If the director can tell us more about this money, please reconsider and let him talk as long as he wants to.
I agree with you.
It's our time to use, but he can talk more.
I've got one thing since we talked about this Wi-Fi, getting everything up to optical cable. Me being on the road or talking to, I'm dealing with kids that don't have the money to buy a computer. I'm dealing with the families that are working at McDonald's, a place making $60 a day, and they try to feed and live on. I'd like to see somehow the commission could help with this COVID money. We get some way to help them get their computer in their house, and some way to give them that Wi-Fi where they have it. What's happening? You're getting out here where people can afford the computer, but the families can't afford to hook to pay the Wi-Fi.
We purchased
we need to get to people.
We purchased enough Chromebooks for all students in grades 5-12 to have access to a Chromebook, and we purchased several hotspots. So we shouldn't have any students if they need. Now, just sending computers home, it sounds good, but unless you're in school and you assign them and you can get them back, even the few, I think we had right at 120 when we started, and I think we lost 20 of the Chromebooks.
Don't it cost something though for them to hook up the monthly payment for the Wi-Fi?
We pay for all of the hotspots if it's to do with school. It shouldn't cost the families anything.
That's what I'm hearing from them. They don't have the ability to pay that $50, $60 a month.
Right.
Because they work at Walmart or whatever, they don't have the money.
No, we actually had through AmeriGroup, we purchased about $10,000 worth of hotspots, and we have those that they can check out. And now, not for it would have to be school related, but we do have that capability. If they have cell phone access, they should be able to pick it up through Verizon.
Okay, so in other words, if they got the computer, they've got it with no service, it ain't gonna cost them to get their school lesson.
No, and we also have Chromebooks if they do not have them. And matter of fact, through the AmeriGroup, we purchased another, I think it was 30 Chromebooks for siblings.
I'm behind you, I don't want a Chromebook.
Yeah.
either.
Well, it's like me neither really. It's like a little laptop, just smaller.
But you're giving it to them, in other words, that's what they.
It's like a little PC, but just doesn't have the full capabilities. But we can test off of them, and they're about $5.50 cheaper than a laptop. So I'll answer questions. I will tell you we're in the very early stages. Like I said, we come out in March and they said we was going to have our plan by middle of April, and then the federal government come out and said no, there's going to be a lot more information on this ESSER 3. I mean, $4.5 billion with ESSER 3. So we're just now starting to work on these reports. There will be some copy and paste from 1 and 2, but then there's going to be a lot of additional stuff. But I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. If you want to come by the office, send me an email. I'll be glad to talk to you about it.
Mark?
Yes.
My kids and grandkids all use the Chromebooks that you're talking about, and it was awesome.
Good, great.
And we thank you for that. 'Cause
Great.
it really helped a lot.
Right. I mean, obviously Wi-Fi everywhere will be great, but we're in a whole lot better place than we were a year ago as far as technology for our students. I mean, all our teachers will have interactive boards if we can get them installed by the time school starts next year, with the exception maybe of some special area teachers. But all our tested teachers will have interactive boards. Matter of fact, we ordered 80 last Thursday. So, any additional questions? Yes, Ms. Roseanne?
The lady that was, that spoke right before you,
Mhm.
Lisa Wigington, has the school and her company communicated?
We wrote a letter of support, so we were involved in that as well when they started, so we wrote a letter of support. And we put Wi-Fi in all the schools. She talked about, like at the fire department, every school, a student can go up and upload their work, or they could sit in the parking lot. You can go if you want to, but now 10 o'clock it's gonna go off, so but we did put that filter in, but so, all our schools have wireless Wi-Fi in the parking lots. Anything else? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Commissioners Forum. Do we have any commissioners that want to stand up and speak? Are we all ready to move on?
I'm requested to speak.
Okay.
I'll make it quick, Chairman. First subject, and I'm sure, or I'm in hopes that the mayor has some information I haven't been provided. What I have here with me is the contract with Waste Management. This agreement shall remain in effect for a period of 30 years. It was signed June the 1st, 2001. 20 years will be next month. I've dropped down disposal of solid waste at the landfill. During the term of this agreement, but no event for a period of less than 20 years, and that's the key word there, for a period of no less than 20 years. Benton County, Camden, Big Sandy, and all residents and businesses of Benton County shall have the right to dispose of solid waste generated within Benton County at the landfill without charge. The contract is telling us they will not charge citizens, businesses, the first 20 years of this contract. 20 years is up next month. CTASC has agreed with what I'm fixing to tell you. Next month, unless the mayor has worked something out that I don't know about yet, Waste Management can start charging us for using their landfill. Not only us, the commercial businesses. But I'm going to stop there. One more quick subject. It was a part of our package, put my glasses on, sales tax collections. And the good news is Benton County ranked 44th in not sales tax increases, but the percentage of sales tax increases. We went up 89% in 2 years. That's really good news. This also shows us that there's 43 counties that increased more than we did. And what I'm going to share with everybody, of those 43 counties that increased more than us in the percentage of sales tax, 8 of those counties were in West Tennessee, 13 of those counties in Middle Tennessee, and 22 of those counties in East Tennessee. There is 11 distressed counties in the state of Tennessee. There are 26 near at high risk of being economic distress. The last point I want to share with everybody. Of these counties in front of us that is ranked higher in sales tax increases, 5 of those are distressed counties. 14 of those are at risk of being distressed. So that's good news. Of those 19 counties, the distressed, I'm going to pick them up first. 3 of those distressed counties are in East Tennessee, 1 in Middle Tennessee, 1 in West Tennessee. The 26 at risk, 6 of those counties ranked above us. 6 of them are located in East Tennessee, 3 in Middle Tennessee, and 4 in West Tennessee. Chairman, I'm going to stop there and yield the floor, and I certainly don't mind asking any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Commissioner Preston?
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, next on the agenda is the county mayor.
I'll just quickly address your waste management. We are in discussion with him. We have invited them to our solid waste meetings, which Ronnie Hopper serves on and is the chair of that committee. They have assured us verbally that they have no intentions of charging for dumping, local citizens dumping there. I kind of got it that it was for a year. you know, but I'm sure they write that into the language a lot of times as one of those caveats to get you to negotiate. They probably are looking to renegotiate that contract. I do believe the very first one was extremely vague. I don't think it had a lot of detail and assurances in there. We've asked questions with TDEC and other parties, legal parties, as, so what if we just let the contract expire? Technically, Waste Management is the owner of that property. They can continue to dump. They own that, and as long as they prove it to the state of Tennessee, it's their prerogative. So, but it's in our best interest to have a contract with them, because the contract negotiates what kind of fee they're gonna pay us, and whether local citizens can dump free, whether we want additional services out of them. But we have been looking at this for over a year and a half. I'm going to submit something to them very, very soon for them to what you call rebut and get back on the table. So more than likely, I look for them to be a willing party for a renegotiation of that contract. I know that this is a very passionate subject of yours. You've been involved for years on this. We'll make sure that the commission, appropriate commissioners are at the table to at least observe and watch. But I will say that we own the high ground, so to speak, in certain capacities, and they own the high ground, so to speak, in certain capacities. And they own a very high ground out on the west side of town, you know that. But it is a delicate process, and we have to submit to them what we call our wish list. And they'll determine the value of that. I'm sure they'll make that part of their contribution to the community. But we have definitely identified multiple needs where they can be a partner in our community, whether it be with our sports teams or parks, helping us out with the solid waste department. I would say don't expect anything in writing and to take effect until a January 1st date. That's when they start on a calendar year, we start on a different year. So we've got roughly 6 months to hash out a good contract with them, but I would like to have something in place by January 1st of 2022, because so long as that clause is sitting out there, they own a lot of what you call bargaining influence. And we want to remove that, right? We want to counter that. And so our counter is going to be time, extension of time for the for value. So we'll see how that process comes out. But again, our solid waste committee and board has been discussing this for 2 years now. And again, I appreciate Ronnie Hopper's involvement on that. He's very invested in that. You've been very invested from the outside point. We'll make sure that you're informed of where we're going.
Thank you, Mayor.
Talking about the sales tax, you were just comparing that one particular month, but if you look at our sales tax over the course of a year, I'm going to say Benton County easily ranks in the top 10 as far as one of the highest percentage growth-wise sales tax counties in Tennessee. So that's good news, but what goes up is like the stock market. What goes up often comes down. But we need to enjoy this prosperity while we can. The reason sales taxes are so important to the financial standing of the county is your debt service usually is leveraged against your sales taxes, not your property taxes. Property tax is a guarantee and assurance, but so long as sales taxes are strong, that is when you want to utilize it. That's when y'all approved some debt this year. I know the schools have looked at debt instead of pulling from their reserves, and this is exactly the time for them to do that. While sales taxes are high, we want to be able to take advantage of that. But I would say that although it's been very prosperous for us, I'll get to the budget committee here in a minute, but it's been prosperous for us. We need to celebrate that. People are shopping locally. Not only that, people are also recreating here in Benton County. So they're coming from outside of Benton County here to recreate, spend their money. We talked about the TRRD board and the value it poses to our citizens with tourism and bringing tourism here to the county. Again, it's all about generating sales tax, sales tax, sales tax. So again, our sales tax numbers are great. I still foresee it continuing. Pat yourself on the back. You've set our county up very well fiscally. to take advantage of it. Budget Committee, I just want to thank the Budget Committee for their hard work. Phil Melton has taken over the chairmanship since, I believe, last October. Phil has been an active member of the Budget Committee from day one since he's been on that. I believe he deserves a pat on the back because he's doing exactly what you want from your chairman. He's understanding the budget, he's understanding the numbers, he's digging in there. If he doesn't know what he's going to find out. And you've got to have an active budget chairman. Whether we agree on issues or not, if your budget chairman is active, that pays off in the end. And so when we're looking at our budget coming up for the next fiscal year, they're going to present a very solid budget to the citizens. Again, I believe it will be a budget that sees no tax increases. We should definitely celebrate that. We've done a lot of spending. We've leveraged a lot of money against grants. We've been utilizing efficiency in the government. And again, still having the money to run our budgets, to be able to pay raises, to be able to hire people in needed positions, and still come out with no tax increase. Again, I'm saying celebrate yourself as a legislative body, but definitely I think a shout out goes out to the Budget Committee. It's exactly what you want out of your Budget Committee, the hard work they're giving us. I can't be more proud enough of them, and I do believe Phil Melton deserves a little special pat on the back for being such a great chair. I want to talk about TDC. In broadband alone, before I became county mayor, Benton County ranked 94th out of 95 worst broadband counties in the state of Tennessee. Okay. Now, just like with our Tier 4 status, we often talk about when we go after grants and how important the leveraging our grants now while we're in this Tier 4 window. It's because you can maximize your money. Well, being ranked 94 out of 95 counties allows you leverage when you go after your grant applications. Okay? So right now is the time for us to be welcoming these proprietors in, these service providers in, who have capital in the bank to be able to write these grants and go grab them. Okay? So just since last July, Benton County has been awarded $18 million in broadband grants. Now that's not county money. That's private individuals' money, usually on a 50-50 basis. The county assists by basically mapping, getting the letters out to the citizens to be able to write surveys and send them in. We write letters of endorsement. Not only would we do that for TDC, we've done that to other providers as well. I was asked a question earlier today, TDC's been very aggressive, and they've grabbed a lot of the grant money. And we don't favor TDC over anyone else. We'll assist anyone to the utmost ability we have. But the reason TDC is important is because they've got money in the bank. I mean, you can go after $10 million if you've got $5 million of your money in the bank already. TDC is well capitalized, and so they've been able to put forth a large broadband fiber footprint in Benton County with the help of Benton County Electric as well. We're moving broadband forward in the county. Again, y'all heard us say this, Rome wasn't built in a day. Broadband, unfortunately, cannot come fast enough. But with providers like TDC, it definitely comes a lot quicker than what we've been seeing over the last decade. So, talking about the COVID money, the relief money that we're going to get, that's a different discussion. I know before we embark on any plan to kind of subsidize a subsidiary grant from the county to an internet service provider, I want to make sure that we talk to the appropriate parties. I would like to talk to the Board of Education to see if they would have an interest in also contributing a little bit. You said $3.1 million. We're going to get $3.1 million of COVID money over the course of roughly 14, 15 months. Money goes a lot quicker than you think. And I know that Big Sandy is sitting with a $2 billion sewer project that they have somehow got to move forward on. It's over a 40-year-old sewer system that's dilapidated. And next month, I'm going to be coming forward with a resolution committing money from our COVID relief money towards that project. To me, these times don't come around every day, every year, every decade. And if the county's got the ability to help the Big Sandy community, we need to step up to the plate while we've got this opportunity. There's also the south end of the county needs more treated water expansion. You'll see that on this resolution that I'll propose. We're going to put forth $500,000 towards our volunteer fire departments for needed equipment that they need. We need money for the courts to upgrade. We need money for the jails to be able to upgrade to handle the COVID impact from our judicial system. So money can go a lot quicker, but we do have a little money there that we can basically look at for some broadband expansion. But before we commit that, I definitely want to make sure that we talk to the right partner. I don't believe the county should go into it all by itself. I think we need to talk to the Board of Education. And we need to talk to TEC or any other providers that might have that same interest and offer the fairness there. But again, broadband, very important. We want to keep the pendulum moving forward. We appreciate everything TEC has done this far. Hyperion Metals, as y'all know, rumor can get around pretty quick. Misinformation can spread very, very quickly. And I've seen some Facebook posts. This is not like strip mining that you saw back in the 1970s up in East Tennessee digging for coal. I mean, they're not going to just strip a lot of land and leave it that way. But even if they did, that's the owner's prerogative. They're not contracting with Benton County. They're contracting with the owner of that property. So again, I don't want us to think that we can meddle or micromanage some processes. They're a mineral company, a mining company, just like multiple mining companies within Benton County. We see that with our gravel pits and our sand pits. All of them are mining Benton County resources, okay? So I don't want us to overthink and kick the tires on Hyperion. From what I have seen out of Hyperion, they do it right. They're exactly the kind of entity that we would want mining in Benton County from what we've seen. But again, we're going to approach it cautiously. We're going to watch it. I know Commissioner President, you went to that meeting with several people from the industrial board when we first heard their first presentations, and everything we've seen out of Hyperion Metals has been really top notch. I mean, they do it right. And so I trust what they have said, that when they extract something, they put it back in the ground just like they found it, with the exception of that metal. But at the end of the day, you're telling landowners that they can't do something with their land. You know what I mean? And so you know, I don't believe that's not our call. You know, so let's make sure misinformation doesn't get out there. Let's make sure the negative talk does not get out there. Let's educate ourselves exactly what this process. I pat them on the back. They've opened up a building in our community for people to get educated. I mean, have you seen that before in the past? I mean, I think they're being very transparent in this. So again, I like what I see so far. You're a county commission. We all deserve to keep a cautious approach. But I do believe that they're above board and that they're an entity that we should welcome into the community. Can't think of anything else other than I will give you an update on my deployment status right now. I don't have an official status. I guess when you're 58 years old, they look at you a lot harder, but I've got to go for a cardiac stress test. I'll do that on Wednesday. I believe I hope everything comes out good with my heart, but at that point in time, after the stress test is run, they will forward that documentation on to the medical command, and they'll either give me a thumbs up or thumbs down that I will be part of the deployment team, that I'm part of the 5-man National Guard team. And so they'll give us a thumb up or thumb down as whether I will be what you call a go or no go. So I hope to be able to have some solid information to provide to the legislative body and the citizens probably within 2 weeks as to whether it looks like I'm going to be shipping out or not. And when we do, we'll handle that. We'll make the public announcements that need to be made, and then this body will have a decision. You know, you'll have to fill my position on an interim basis. And we've all got our thoughts about that. I know people ask a lot of questions. But I do believe that if I am a go, that y'all need to select someone in the month of June. Y'all need to select them before I leave. I want to work with my replacement for a couple of weeks and spin them up to be able to do my duties and also know the vision that I put forward. They are an extension of me. This interim mayor is not an independent entity. Okay? I'm still your mayor at least until the next election. So with that being said, this person needs to be representative of a vision that at least I put forward for the last 33 months. That's all I ask. You know, I think that should be a heavy consideration, and I would like for y'all to take that over the next month and think about that. I'll have a recommendation of who I believe that person is, but ultimately you're the deciding authority. But I would like for you to do something in the month of June, because I would like to be able to orientate that individual before I depart that desk. So that being said, I'll yield the floor.
Any questions for the mayor? Okay, we'll move on to number 5 on the agenda is the approval of the minutes.
Mayor, you're gonna do that proclamation? He had a proclamation there.
I'm sorry about that. We did have a proclamation for honoring Lydia Branch. I want to do that right. She's a special person. We all know her in this community. So I want to postpone that for the month of June. I want to invite the family in here. We've just got the bio story for her that we want to put in the proclamation. I didn't have enough time to put that on. I apologize. I think June's a more appropriate month.
Okay, approval of the minutes. We have a motion by Don Patton and a second by Dana Ferguson. All in favor, vote. You can. You don't have to.
Hallelujah is the first line over that everybody did.
Motion passes. Report of the public utilities. A motion, please. Motion by Phil Melton and a second by Dana Ferguson. All in favor, vote, please.
Anybody wish to change their vote?
Anybody wish to change their vote?
Okay, motion passes. Number 7, approval of the Tennessee Rehabilitation Center quarterly report. Motion by Dana Ferguson and second by Kenneth Miller. All in favor, vote, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
So much easier.
Okay. Number 8 on the agenda is the approval of the school's 5-year contract with LineWise for a cloud-managed filter and report with built-in cybersecurity controls. All in favor?
I got a question.
We have a
Okay.
motion on the,
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion to put it on the floor by Don Patton, a second by Dana Ferguson. Okay, Dana, you're recognized.
No, I didn't mean to hit that one. I wanted to ask a question on it.
Okay.
And, yeah, Mark will have to be the one to answer it. You know, the pipeline, they just had to pay out millions and millions because they cyber got our gas stuff. Is this gonna prevent that?
Nothing's gonna prevent it. It helps, but the reason we can only sign a year contract, the school board and the director. So this particular company through Education Technologies, LineWise, they would not give us a yearly buyout of our contract. And the first time it happened to me in 8 years. But if we pay for it yearly, it's $8,000 a year. If we do a 5-year contract, which the county commission can approve, it's $28,000. We usually wouldn't do this, but we're going to need cybersecurity for 5 years, so it's just saving $12,000 by, and we did use our federal emergency relief funds to do this. So that's the just of probably the first contract I brought up here Ms. Ferguson, because usually vendors will do the year and give you an opt-out clause, but this particular company would not.
Okay.
Any more questions? If not, okay, everyone can vote, please.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion.
Next is number 9, approval of the releasing of the trustees of Benton County from the 2019 tax aggregate of $7,955,908. We have a motion by Ward Plant and a second by Dana Ferguson. Any questions? Oh. Okay, all vote, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
Number 10 on the agenda, which is, now we're down to our resolutions. So we're on resolution number 1. It's a resolution to renew the employee health insurance plan with Blue Cross Blue Shield Tennessee effective July 1, 2021, with the continued HRA of up to $2,000 for each participating employee. We have a motion by Phil Melton and a second by Norman Frazier. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking for them. Commissioner Hill, you're recognized.
I just wanted to ask if after this resolution, we might recess for a brief moment.
Okay, we will. Commissioner Ferguson.
Mine is, we do have Benefits Inc. here. If anyone would like to ask them a question about this, it is gonna be about the same as it was last year. All that, little cheaper. Yeah, a little cheaper, but, you know, if anybody would like to ask him any questions, he's here to answer questions.
I have a question. Are you the one, do we need to ask you like our pharmacy cards? They don't work at Walmart pharmacy. Are you the one that we talked to about that?
Yes, we can help you with it. And that'll be with the change to Blue Cross. That should help that problem. But let me know about that, because we'll be actually out as enrolling the new products this week. So make sure if you don't see me, you talk to one of the folks in Benefits Inc. and we can help you with that process. Even what's happened with Cigna in the past, but even the move to Blue Cross should help that.
Thank you for what y'all have done.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. But you can vote now, please.
Mr. Burke, you like to vote?
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Norman, hit him every once in a while.
Everyone just did, one abstain, Michelle Hill.
With conflict.
Conflict.
Yeah.
So she stated it.
Okay, motion by Don Patton, a second by Ward Plant. Okay, all in favor, vote, please.
What is this for?
That's,
Okay, you're already on number 2, aren't you?
yeah. Oh, did you want to do?
We were gonna have a
Yes.
recess.
Okay, so we announced that resolution number 1 has passed.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take a 10-minute break. Thank you.
Good boy.
Moving to Mary.
I can't handle them stairs.
Not every time, I just kind of.
Yeah, we, Donna just needs to go. Get on.
The house is so big, it's a lot bigger than what we need. That's a big,
All the gas stove, I'm afraid of him getting curious. We're on gas heat now, so I'm just trying to sit down. We got upstairs, we don't need to go on. I appreciate it, but we're about to buy a house, but we're just waiting
Well, I'm using it. The one in Walmart was actually using it. The one in Walmart.
To do what? To do what? We got stuff to move. I don't know where it's going or what it's doing. It could be a pickup truck. This is the week. I'm scared for you to go.
I'm praying that it's on this road door. But I know it's not, it's been for more than 2 weeks. But I don't know what we up there. I don't know much about it, but I don't come back. I look at it. Yeah, they do the same thing.
I don't know them, I've gotten them all.
I'm sure we can take half a day to
Oh, he's right in your bag.
Well, I'll find out when you see what they can do.
Yeah, that's fine. Fiance's baby. Yeah, his little family dog. Yeah, he's something. He knows he's cute. Yeah. Thank you, Miss Dana. That's fine.
You digging for more candy?
Are you working Dr. Hill's now? Okay. I need to check with Sharon and see if they got an appointment.
I think they have.
We need to get them up there and get them
Unless they
checked.
talked with mom, I'm in the back a lot, so I don't.
Oh,
answer the
okay,
phone as
okay.
much.
I still need
She
to
didn't
tell
bring
you.
it up, or I haven't seen it at least.
Well, we tried to get her in for her glasses and they're not set up at Walmart to take her insurance over there right now, so we're trying to figure out what to do there. Because I made a deal with her, if she would wear her glasses, I would buy her whatever frames she wanted, so it worked pretty well. But, yeah, I need to say something, I bet Sharon's forgot about it.
If not, I'm trying to remember, and I'll have something.
Yeah, because we need to get that done.
Yeah.
It's
We're slowly but surely catching up, so.
been closed too long.
Almost a year.
Of course, I gave him a fit every time I saw him. Of course, I understand why. I knew.
Yeah, he's a lot more easier with it now.
Yeah, and he didn't go hunting there as much either. I don't think he
I don't think he did. If he did, he was by himself.
I did still get a few jokes when he come in. I did get some jokes out of him. But I
He's
think
always got a joke.
I think he always does.
Yeah.
Hey, Roseanne, hurry up. People ain't closing at 9.
Walmart, Walmart.
Hoover down.
I guess it depends on how much insulation you got.
I made it, yeah.
Oh, no. What is she cancer? Mother's tumor was right. You know, you have two laryngeal tubes or something, you have two tubes that come down to the lungs, and then it comes together like a Y. Her tumor was right in the Y, so they couldn't take it easy. Okay, we ready?
We're in discussion.
Did I announce the motion and the second motion for two? We did already on there. Yeah, I was moving on. I'd like to get to Mexico before they close. There's two ball games tonight. The high school girls are playing in Marshall County in the regional, and then Noah's playing Team 100.
Yeah.
That's where Angie is with the high school girls. They're in Marshall County. Is that Chapel Hill?
Okay, let's go. Where's Angie?
Make work out there.
Pretty far away. Okay, we're on resolution number 2, and we have a motion and a second, and it's up for discussion. Do we have any discussions on resolution number 2?
It was recommended by budget.
Okay. Then, everyone may vote.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
Number 11 on the agenda is resolution number 12 on the agenda is resolution number 3. Resolution to transfer funds in the amount of $20,535.92 within the employee's benefit health insurance account. I have a motion by Dana Ferguson and a second by Don Patton. Dana, you're recognized.
It was recommended by budget, but it was not recommended by insurance. But I could explain a little. Insurance couldn't figure out why there wasn't enough money in there, because what we said that was supposed to be in the budget was not put in the budget. We don't know why it wasn't put in the budget. So that's the reason behind that.
Commissioner Frazier?
To elaborate a little more on what Mr. Ferguson is saying,
there's a $50,000 shortfall in this past year's healthcare budget. With a few officers and positions being open, that would automatically mean there would be a surplus in unfilled accounts. Yes, we've hired 2 or 3 extra people that would fill some of those spots, that would burn some of those insurance payments that we would have accounted for. So according to what information I can gather, somewhere around $50,000 misappropriation of monies or lack of appropriations. So we pay people to do a budget, we pay people to manage our budget and oversee our budget, and we're over $30,000 to $50,000 off. Okay? So I can't help but think about the $58,000 that was budgeted to fund the commissioners a raise. So that's $58,000 extra that was in the budget for commissioners' raises that eventually got put into the employees' raises. So what are we doing? Just doing shell games with these budgets now or what? Okay? So I don't know what to do, if I need to get my own accountant to audit these budgets, because that's over $100,000 that I see is misappropriated. Thank you. I seize the floor.
I'm going to say something. I think your math is so far off it'd be out there where Pluto or Neptune would be. Okay? Your math is nowhere near. It doesn't even make sense. So if you're going to come here and shout out numbers, bring us some pieces of paper.
Okay?
All right. So first of all, $58,000 was appropriated to the commission.
Yes.
How is that?
If you remember, Mayor, there was a line item that gave $58,000 into the mayor's, it might be, was it 58 or 28, but it was a number, a surplus. Was it 28 or 58, sorry?
I'm going to say it would be more like maybe 28. How much?
Okay, my apologies for that number being off, okay? The 28, let's just say the 28, my apologies. That money wasn't appropriated. I'm just using that as an example. We've got 2 different things, 2 different monies that don't seem right to me.
The money would be going in your pocket. So first of all, you would know that something's out of whack there, right? So what do y'all get paid? $75 a meeting?
Yes, sir.
You want to do the quick math here? And let's just say 75 times, there's 18 of you. So every meeting, we have to budget $13.50, right? Just for the $75, but let's add $75 in here because the chairman gets double that. So we're at $14.25 times 12 meetings. That's $17,100. Of course, now you have your committee meetings as well. Normally, we'll work in a 13th meeting in there. Sometimes we have a special meeting called in June, pass the budget or whatever. So we're not even here. The $28,000, but that would make more sense as far as paying y'all on that. Are you saying like we double paid? Did we double appropriate that money? Because that would go through budget. I mean, that would go through the approval of this county body before you did.
So you're going to sit there and tell me you don't remember pulling money out of the commissioner's account to give the employees raises?
I don't remember that right now. I defer to our budget chair to say if he remembers something like that. I surely don't remember pulling any money for employee raises, but every year around May and June, these things are uncommon. That's when we finally know the final numbers. Keep in mind, a budget is just an estimate. Okay, if we were 100% correct on our budget, that would probably be a world record for any county in the United States of America. I'm not so sure that every county comes in 100%. It's just a projection. Sometimes you miss information. Sometimes we don't know that the sheriff's office may have 10 employees here that got raises that it just wasn't put forward. Maybe the courthouse employees, there's step raises in there we just missed. And we always make those adjustments in the month of May or June. You see this every year. You've seen this a lot longer than me. This is nothing unusual. Now, of course, Ashley's not here, and she would be the first one I defer to as to the more meat and potatoes behind this particular resolution.
She is on the phone and wants to speak.
And maybe she can explain a little bit more in detail, but this is an adjustment resolution, okay? We did not project our budget last year, 100%. But everywhere where we have to appropriate money, there's also going to be money turned in, okay? So we'll get to the end of the year where people did not spend out their budget. So this $20,000 can easily be offset by the sheriff's department, or by the highway department, by other departments that may turn money in at the end of the year. This is not an uncommon move.
Okay, yeah, Ashley is on the line, and she wants to, permission to speak.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes?
Okay, Commissioner Frazier, can you please explain to me why you think that this was a misappropriation of monies? You are on the insurance committee, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you all not choose to transfer money from the HOA account to cover an increase?
And that got pulled away after I made a motion for that amount now.
I'm sorry?
You talking about a year ago when we set the budget?
I did. So first off, the projected number that was put in the budget may not have been the accurate number that it came to by the time that insurance renewal with Cigna actually took effect, because our budget process was ended sooner than the switching to Cigna process, okay? Secondly, the insurance committee did vote to transfer funds from the HRA if needed. However, instead of doing a transfer from our HRA and touching those monies, we have the extra money in 58,600 employee benefits to simply transfer from there without touching HRA. So there was no misappropriation of funds whatsoever. This is simply pulling extra money we have in expenditures under 58,600 instead of having to even delve into our HRA account. Does that make sense?
Yes, ma'am.
So there's no misappropriation or management for our health insurance benefits or our budget, whether that be by myself or our CPA, financial advisor, Lori Brasher, since we do pay both of us to manage these funds.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding the transfer to cover this insurance?
Ashley, there's not any other questions. Thank you.
You.
Okay, since there's not any other questions, we're going to take a vote.
Madam Chairman, we have a new motion by Ward Plant, or were you?
No.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Just make sure, we'll ignore it.
Okay. Okay, now we can all take a vote, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? We have one no, Norman Frazier, and one abstain by Rochelle Hill. Is your abstain due to?
I'm a county employee and I'm
Okay.
affected by benefits, so yes.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to change their vote? Motion carries.
Number 13, resolution transferring funds in the amount of $4,000 from the county commission fiscal agent charges to the board of committee members' fees. I have a motion by Phil Milton and a second by Don Patton. Any questions? Dana Ferguson?
Recommended by the,
Okay. Anyone else? Roll call, please. Commissioner Furr, we need you to vote, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? We have all yes, except for one, Norman Frazier, no. Motion carries.
Okay, motion passes. I don't know if it's affecting y'all like it is me, but when I say roll call, sometimes I'm sitting here waiting for a roll call. But that, when I say roll call, that means for you to vote on your tablet. Okay, number 5, resolution to transfer funds in the amount of $3,900 within the sheriff and jail budgets. We have a motion by Don Patton and a second by Phil Melton. Commissioner Ferguson.
Recommended by budget.
Recommending the law.
No other questions? Roll call.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Norman Frazier, no, and Rochelle Hill, abstain. Conflict? Yes. Okay, thank you. Passes 2/3.
Number 15 is resolution number 6. Resolution to transfer funds in the amount of $50,000 from Fund 178 into Fund 189. A motion by Don Patton, a second by Phil Melton. Dana Ferguson.
Recommended by budget.
Okay, no other questions, roll call.
Anyone wish to change your vote? Motion carries. All
Resolution number 7. Resolution budgeting funds received in the amount of $128,000 within the school's budget. Motion by Phil Melton, a second by Don Patton. Anyone wish to speak? Dana Ferguson.
Recommended by budget.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Passes all.
Resolution number 8 is a resolution budgeting funds received in the amount of $2 million within the school's budget. I have a motion by Phil Melton and a second by Don Patton. Commissioner Ferguson.
Recommended by budget.
Okay. Any others? Roll call.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Resolution number 9, resolution budgeting funds received in the amount of $10,381.40 within the Sheriff's Department budget. We have a motion by Dana and a second by Rochelle.
Rochelle. Did you have? You got
Wasn't there some changes to that, Rochelle?
Yeah, there's some.
But you have to amend it.
You have to
Figures
amend
are
it.
off.
Oh, sorry.
I'm guessing you want an amendment.
Yeah, she needs to make an
Yeah,
amendment.
sorry. Forget about the buttons sometimes.
We have to have a
Yes,
second for the amendment.
Okay, we have a motion by Rochelle and a second by Dana for the amendment.
do I need to state the amendment?
Yes, please.
Okay, I wish to amend on the increased expenditures, towing services to reflect $350 and other charges to reflect $300, which will equal the total amount, the correct amount at the bottom.
Do you have that written?
Yes, you can have this.
Okay, we will need a,
I'd like to ask the budget committee,
Basically, it's exactly what's.
is part of this supposed to go back into the general fund?
Pardon?
It's not going into general fund. It's going back into sheriff's line items.
okay, any other questions? Okay, we're going to vote now on the amendment, please.
Okay, this is the amendment. what we're voting on.
Anyone wish to change their vote? All yes, as amended, amendment. No, as amended.
Okay, now we're going to vote on the resolution as it was amended.
Recommended to allow.
Was recommended as amended by budget.
Okay. Okay, roll call, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries, all ayes.
Resolution number 10, resolution budgeting funds received in the amount of $4,250 within the library's budget. I have a motion by Phil Melton and a second by Don Patton. Dana Ferguson.
Was recommended by budget.
Okay. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Burke?
Anyone wish to change their vote? All yes.
Okay, resolution number 11. Resolution budgeting funds received in the amount of $4,617.09 within Fund 172, Community Development. I have a motion by Don Patton, a second by Dana Ferguson.
Recommended by budget.
Recommended by budget. Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Plant, did you?
No.
Have a- okay.
It's awful quiet in here.
We just shuffling the papers.
Anyone wish to change their vote? All
Okay. Resolution number 12. Resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $10,565 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover the coroner, medical examiner billing, and autopsy expenses for the remainder of the fiscal year. Motion by Phil Melton, second by Don Patton. Ferguson?
It's new money and it was recommended by budget.
Okay, so this will take a 2/3 vote. Any questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Okay. Resolution number 13. Resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $1,742 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to cover the tire disposal expenses for the remainder of the fiscal year. I have a motion by Don Patton, a second by Sonny Hall. Ms. Ferguson?
It was recommended by budget and it's new money.
To take a 2/3 vote again. Roll call, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
Resolution number 14. Resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $1,000 from the unassigned fund balance within Fund 128 TRRD in order to cover the trustees' commission for the revenues collected throughout the remainder of the fiscal year. I have a motion by Dana Ferguson and a second by Sonny Hall.
recommended by budget and new money.
2/3.
Mr. Patton, did you wish to amend? No.
Okay. Everybody vote? Resolution number 15.
Mr. Preston.
I'm sorry.
Anyone wish to change their vote? 14 yes and 1 no.
Okay, now number 15. Resolution to appropriate funds in the amount of $16,676.15 from the unassigned fund balance within the county general fund in order to pay outstanding invoices received from the Barrett Group on revenue enhancement findings for hotel motel tax and bank franchise excise tax. I have a motion by Dana Ferguson and a second by Sunny Hall.
Was recommended by budget and new money.
Anyone else got anything to say? Okay, roll call.
Mike Nunnery is requesting to speak to you on a breakdown.
I sure do. I'm sorry, Mike.
Well, just a question, on these, where we pay them, her, does this all go forever as long as we can collect that tax, or is there a time limit? How does that work exactly?
Now, she can only get, I guess you can say, if she creates a new collection for us, you know what I mean, she gets 50% of that, you know what I mean? And she gets it for the first 12 months that is paid. So sometimes we may not actually start collecting for a certain period of time, but once it started collecting, her clock kicks in at that point in time.
And then if it continues beyond 12 months, she's done?
She's done. She's done. And I think I think we passed this last July, this occupancy tax. Of course, it took a couple months for it to start coming in. So she may bill us for the occupancy tax for another couple more months. And then it should roll off.
I have a question for the mayor, if I may ask, if y'all don't mind. Does anyone oppose? Okay, on this excise tax, this is money that is sitting up there in the Department of Revenue, paid to them from the banks. We know that money's there. Is there not a way that we can collect that on our own?
We absolutely can.
How do we do that?
Well, the first thing is you gotta have a proactive department head. You know what I mean? And normally your audits will start at the departments that are collected in first. But obviously, we've seen a drop off. There's some gap there, because it's not just recently, that this goes back years upon years. You look at mineral severance tax, it's one of those. And it's a hard thing to track. Now, the one thing that Miss Barrett did was she found that money was going to the state, but it was the state that wasn't generating it out appropriately to the particular individual counties. Like, you know, you may write one big check based upon 2 pages of the tax return and send it in, but that backup data, the state was not keying in. So they didn't know that it was supposed to go to Benton County, to Bedford County, to Anderson County, things like that, until Commissioner President really brought that issue up. He's saying there's a disconnect. And that's when we got her on this. And supposedly they're even writing, you know, because of her legislative background, she sees a gap in the way the state does this, so she's going to try to write something that goes through the channels of our legislature that says you cannot submit a return that it will be incomplete if the banks do not actually break it down. So don't leave it to the state to break it down, because that's after the fact. It could be months. They're going to try to pretty much put language in there that says you don't even submit your return to the state unless you've broken it down by county, you know. so that the state knows that they have to key it in upon their collection time. I'd like for her to probably explain that. I'm sure there's some moving parts to it, but, and I'm not sure, let me see, by the way, it was a huge amount, wasn't it, Rocky, about what we got in the excise tax? I mean, you remember that large amount? She's not charging us the full like what she does on other type of collections. So her contract, if she assists on something that should have been done somewhere else, it's a lower percentage. But if it's new revenue, if it's something that we did not know was there, and she went and creates, she gets 50% of that for the first year.
I want to say something.
Okay.
Can you, tell me what you meant about the head department? Is there, what did you mean by that?
Okay, let's take.
Because we know it's coming through the state, like Roseanne says, we are collecting it, but she's getting paid off of what we're already collecting, but I mean, y'all know that.
Okay, but when you say you're collecting, let's take, or like business taxes collected through your.
Yes, but this one that we're talking about, the state one, it's coming through the state and has been for 3 months.
Well, it's not been dispensed back to the county.
Yeah.
Okay, are you talking about hotel motel and you're talking about excise?
I'm talking about excise.
Well, okay.
And you're talking about hotel motel?
Yeah,
Okay.
so.
Okay, now that's
what was you
different, that's
talking
different.
about
She
that
knows what goes through y'all's department.
Okay.
And so if it's something like the Nathan Bever Forest deal, that's what she wrote into that, so she's gonna get 50% of that occupancy tax for the first year.
Right, I just didn't know what you meant, it was by the department head when you said
But the
that.
one thing
If you
about the
wanted to
department,
explain that.
and this is an excellent opportunity to say that, so let's take,
Yep.
would you know, like, if mineral severance taxes was submitted through your, department, would you know how much they were supposed to pay?
The 5% whenever, per thing.
But do you know how
We got
much
papers, yeah,
the
that-
tonnage, do you
the-
break it down? And so that's where the first,
But that's up to the business to have that done when they bring that in.
and there's personal property tax, there's also mineral, but that's the first line of audit. That is where it normally gets called. And it's not called on the front line, then we're gonna find out, okay, we've got this many firms out there that's supposed to pay it. Like we may have 10 or 15 firms out there that's supposed to be paying us something. Maybe only 9 paid it. And maybe we've only been tracking 9. But either way, whether it be your office, the trustee's office, any other type of office, the first receipt, whoever brings that money in, that's where the audit responsibility lies initially. And a lot of times we don't have the staff, we don't have the expertise, and that's why we hire Miss Barrett, and that's why she has found hundreds of thousands of dollars.
We've got to find that, yeah. We went through a lot of research.
Okay, and that goes back to my question about, like, from the mayor's office. Is there a procedure that somebody in your office could take every so often to check into that money that's sitting up there and see if we have money there?
The way we're set up and structured now, I'm gonna say no. Centralized purchasing, payroll, and accounting would probably solve it.
Okay. Commissioner Fowler.
No, I just, Commissioner Nunnery answered.
Okay.
That's the question I was looking at.
Commissioner Ferguson.
It was recommended by the budget and it's money.
Okay. Commissioner Preston.
I'm gonna make it brief. Looking at the 2017 audit numbers, excise tax for Benton County was $224,000. And I remind you, Chairman, this was under the former mayor, Mr. Barnett. 2018, excise tax dropped to $59,000. Contact was made with the Department of Revenue, Amanda McGraw, the Director of Financial Control. Her office explanation for that big a drop was you had to have a bank to close. 2019 comes along. We're still under former Mayor Barnett. We collect a little less, $58,000. The Department of Labor is, and Roseanne, I think you're mistaken when you think that they got a pool of money at the Department of Revenue. In the case of 2020, The Department of Revenue found that the large bank in Benton County showed their earnings in Knoxville, not in Benton County. They corrected the paperwork, they looked over Apex's shoulder and made sure they filled the paperwork out. And in 2020, our excise taxes, $472,000.
Was that some back pay though for 2 or 3
Yes,
years?
that was back for 1 year.
And it wasn't Apex's fault. I mean, they actually reported the right amount, but because maybe their headquarters, the way they reported the state, that was a gap that we found, that the state really wasn't.
And let me say this, the way First Bank come about, we were furnished documentation from the Department of Revenue that I can't get anything else from, but it showed who was paying the taxes to this county. And for several years, First Bank, being the second biggest bank in this county, didn't pay any back. And I think Regions paid about
You need to watch how you word that. You're saying First Bank ain't paying nothing.
I said First Bank, okay.
Yeah, you word it like that. It would be wording that the state wouldn't send in First Bank's money, because First Bank is a very good bank here. And we don't need to be saying First Bank. First Bank pays their part. The dividing of it through the state and being executed is the problem.
I stand corrected, I'll try to do a better job.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And that's enough said. I'll give the floor. We'll move on.
I'm just happy we're having a discussion, that we're being proactive. You know, this has been a very proactive body. And, so far, Ms. Barrett has paid well. It should get better going forward now that we've corrected a lot of these loopholes, flaws, or just errors in reporting.
Okay, any other questions?
I hit the button and pressed to speak. We paid her for what she's done for this year. I just look at it, would it be worth paying out this much money for something of that nature? Would it be worth putting her on the payroll or hiring someone to do this? We filled a lot of other jobs. I mean, what kind of money, do you have any idea?
The one thing with her is she's kind of created that market. You know, there's no one, it's not just Benton County, there's multiple other counties out there with these.
Does she service other
And so right now, she's kind of the only game in town, and that's how we came upon her, but yes.
Somebody's calling my hearing aid.
I've been a proponent of the centralized system, county system, because at least you've got one office that's being reportable to you, and you can always put that position. But this is definitely a position that we could hire for, and make sure that people are following up and auditing. And again, you probably need a bona fide accountant, you probably need someone with some qualifications so they don't come cheaply, anyone with a CPA level would have to be probably 70,000 or above. And, but yes, I'm all open for a body to begin thinking of, can we do this ourselves? Yes. The one good thing is at least she has fixed a lot of broken models that we may not have a big problem going forward. If people just pay their taxes, if people will just do the proper reporting, we may not get into these problems, but just something for you to kind of chew on. I'm open for that discussion by all means.
Recommended by budget and new money.
Okay, anyone else? Roll call, please.
Anyone wish to change their vote? 15 yes. Motion carries.
Okay, we're down to appointing notaries. We have 3. Haley Phillips.
You still have another resolution, you want to do that?
We're going to go in order.
Yeah, we'll go in, then we have to suspend the rules for that one, Mr. Plant. Next is the appointing of the notaries. Haley Phillips, Tyanna Dobson, and Christy Ezel. I have a motion by Norman Frazier and second by Phil Melton. No questions? Roll call.
That'll be last. They're gonna do it this way first. Vote. Get your button
Hill.
Anyone wish to change their vote? Motion carries, 15 yes.
Okay, now we're down to any other business. Is there any other business? Well, let's go ahead and vote on this resolution number 16.
We've got to suspend the rules.
Yeah, I was fixing to say, we'll go to that one, and that's okay. And we need to suspend the rules for this one. I will suspend the rules by Phil Milton and a second by Dana Ferguson. All in favor?
Anyone wish to change their vote? 15 yes.
Okay, now we're down to the resolution from the Benton County Director of Schools. I'm not going to read it. I think you've all got it right there in front of you. Are there any questions? If not, then we'll take a roll call vote.
Anyone wish to change their vote?
It's gone. It's gone. Is this supposed to be a resolution, something that we're going to approve?
It's an approval
Okay, you had in your packet some information from our IT person, Scott Hill. It's the information technology policy. We need to approve that it is the policy. We need to accept the policy. So if we want to do that tonight, we will need a motion and a second, which we have from Phil Melton, and a second by Don Patton. Do we have any questions about it? Scott, do you want to make any comments about it? Okay, Commissioner Hill?
Yeah, we didn't have a lot of time to read through this, and for the most part, it seems, fairly straightforward. There's one thing in here, though: employees needing assistance with computer-related problems should contact the IT department. That may vary from department to department.
You're kind of the only department that doesn't fall under that because you have your own IT department, everybody else kind of.
Exactly, so this would recognize that we do have our own IT department, and we have a few special areas that would not be accessible to your IT department.
Correct, and if you
But
never.
where's that in here?
Huh?
Where's that in here?
I don't know if it's actually in there, but it does say that networks that we're not allowed to mess with as our county IT department, that you have to go with your elsewhere. Because like Wanda's office, she has state networks, and the courts has their own networks and their own IT department. So therefore, we would just classify your NCIC network, your state network, and let that be with Mr. Bryan. Therefore, we wouldn't touch that network.
Like I said, I didn't have enough time to really read through this, I just wanted to make sure.
And I do apologize that it was supposed to be actually put in and given to you a lot sooner, and we had a state IT audit come through, and she was the one that recommended, because we've never had an IT policy.
Oh, I think it's a great idea.
So that was the whole reason why we did it. I created it as quickly as I could, and I gave it through the chain, and apparently it got lost somewhere, and I found it today. I was like, where's it on my agenda? So we kind of rushed to get it back to you guys as soon as possible. If you have to table it, that's fine. I would prefer that you don't, only because we have computers sitting in closets that we literally cannot get rid of because we don't have a policy and the state won't let us get rid of them. So we have to have a policy on our destruction policy and whatnot.
I'm wondering if it should be amended to include, like the sheriff's department and the schools, because they are separate IT and totally.
Well, again, their network is not controlled by us, so therefore they would have their own department. It does say that a network that's not just the plain internet, there's a specialized network that's their own.
Which page is that on? 'Cause I'm not finding it.
Please tell me this is the right one.
Page 4. Page 4.
No. that thing, but I'm not seeing what you're wanting.
Yeah, because I'm seeing here, the county has the right to inspect any and all files stored in private areas of a network, and, I mean,
Yeah,
there's,
I think this may need to be tabled until we get, better clarity.
But it also goes back to saying that the department heads have the discretion in page 7 on the very top of it. So your department heads would.
well, yeah, but that doesn't supersede some of the other clauses.
We'll go back and reword it.
I make a motion
Can I withdraw, can I
to
withdraw my
table.
motion?
You withdraw your
I
motion?
withdraw my motion.
Okay.
Don?
Mr. Patton, would you like to withdraw your motion so that the commission has more time to read this and
I don't
study
believe
it?
oh, yeah, I withdraw it.
Okay.
I will ask, for y'all to ask questions over the next month. Let's not get to next month and ask questions on this. This is easily an item that y'all can go directly to the IT director, ask him to get yourself educated on. I'm glad that we've got an IT department. We've got to move somewhere that's what part of an audit suggestion. And we've got to have policies, like we need a handbook, active handbook policy, all those type of things. So just do your homework, study it, ask your questions, filter those through the IT director, and let's, make it more streamlined next month. And I do agree with the table. This is the last minute deal, and y'all deserve more time to study.
Now, who made the motion to table, or have we got one?
Both people withdraw, so it's failed to have a motion.
Okay, that's fine. That worked out. Any other business?
Do we have school, do we have last minute school resolutions?
That was number 16 that we suspended the rules.
We did that, okay.
We did that.
We did that.
Motion to adjourn?
Wait just a minute.
We're doing it.
No, you were voting on something you weren't supposed to vote on. There you go, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Nobody motioned or second.
That made the motion. Who made the
We have it
second
on
to
the
adjourn?
computer, is what I'm saying.
You need to do it on the computer.
We have to have the prints out, so we have to have the
The motion,
motion.
second for our
and
adjourn.
second. And it's got Louise abstaining and Rocky saying no.
Rocky said no.
That's the way it's gonna show up on our minutes, so I can't have it.
I just need a motion and a second for adjourn. Does somebody?
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded by Bill.
No, it has to be in the computer, I'm sorry. Okay, before we adjourn next time, because this is happening every time, we need to make sure we push the motion and second, because we're having to put an explanation of why we wasn't on there each time.
We'll make a motion.
So it was Ferguson, President Melton,
Melton and
please, and thank y'all. Okay.
You log out?
Yes.
Oh, see you guys.
So how you turn the thing off, maybe? Push up top.
Side, turn it on. Hold it in.
Or do we have to sign out?
Yeah, that's the old song.
I don't know.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good one, Dana.
I just called my buddy and I thought that for me.
Hey, Roseanne, they gave us some more of these in case other folks didn't have them. Okay, thank you. You're welcome.
He was studying.
I still, you hear it?
Keep you posted. Okay. You,
Yeah. It's not good, is it?
no. I had that foot surgery done, trying to get over it.
It takes a while to get over that.
Done better than I thought I'd do.
Yeah.
Does anybody want any extra, one of these that she handed out for anyone?
What's that?
That you gave me.
Yeah,
You
I'll
want one?
take that. Well, yeah, I will. I'll take it. Let me get this right here.
Did you get one? Here you go, one. Anybody else? Do you want one, Scott?
Everything that's
All right, all right.